huge. Good evening, Facebook family and friends. I'm Cathy Novicky from Champions Over Cancer, and today is day number 60 of my 90-day Facebook Live. And it's very, very exciting, and hence I've made the title all capital letters. I wrote an email once, all in capital letters, only because the cap locks was on, and I was told that it meant I was yelling at people. I didn't know that. So I'm not yelling at you, I'm just shouting it out, empowerment. And that it has this 60 days so far out of 90 has, for me, been very empowering, because it has taught me taught me how to find a subject, a topic to talk about every night. I know some nights are better than others, but let me just give you the definition of empower, and then there was all sorts of different, those English kind of things, empowerment, empowered, blah, 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 blah. I never was very good in English, but the definition is to make someone stronger, more confident, and feel more in control of their life. Now, during acute cancer therapy, during your treatment, you have support around you. In this formal setting, you have physicians, you have your oncology team. They are always informing you as to what's going on. You have plenty of educational materials that you can read. There are, there are booklets. They give you websites to look things up, and all of this knowledge, this information, allows you to make informed decisions, and at the same time, being able to ask questions in a non-threatening, safe environment where there is give and take. And on top of that, there's the emotional support that goes with it. So when you finish acute therapy and are cancer-free now, that is where I started asking questions, or continued to ask questions, and no one was able to give me any answers, or none that I liked. And so for me, when I just looked up the definition of empowerment, because I wanted to read it so I could understand it better, because I am using it a lot in my lives. So when I read this definition, it was like, oh, obviously the use of that word makes a lot of sense. And then I started digging a little deeper into how the word applies to a breast cancer patient, and I read this article that said, they did a study and finding the traits of what women need to feel empowered. And they looked at the acute part, which was just as I explained, and then they looked at it in the cancer-free realm of a chronic disease. Because unfortunately, even though you are cancer-free, or as the new term that I read a while ago, excuse me while I itch behind my ear, there's no evidence of disease. Just makes it longer, But anyway, so they found that once you go into that phase, once you are cancer-free, your formal educational environment you are in that less. So if you have questions, they found that women didn't know where to go for answers, or where to get information, to make informed decisions, or to have control, to feel that control over their life. And the emotional support was lessened, obviously, because you weren't going to, you weren't in the oncology clinic as often, which was good, but your family and friends have gone back to their day-to-day life because you are improving and you no longer need to to be in oncology as often. And so that combined with that education, that seeking information and finding difficulty has led researchers to understand that there really needs to be continuity going from beginning to throughout the lifespan for women to feel empowered. And when I read that, it was like, boom, the big light bulb over the head. Because this is where Champions Over Cancer really evolved from, in my frustration from asking questions and not being able to find answers. And one of the missions of Champions Over Cancer is to be able to align people, cancer-free patients or their caregivers or someone who's been touched by cancer, be able to help them find services that they need. And because that's what was important to me. I didn't know where to turn, and no one was able to kind of point me in the right direction. So that's when I started really digging into reading and researching, finding that this, as I call it, this population, this population of the cancer community that's being underserved is now, there is reason for it. It's because there are no answers, and women who don't feel that they're asking questions and they can't find the answers, it increases your lack of control, your self-confidence, hence a poor quality of life. So when the IOM, the Institute of Medicine, talks about from 2006, talks about survivorship care plan being individualized for a multitude of areas, and it is not being done, someone has to do it. And it just clicked. It's like, this is what we're all about. Empowering women. I'm sorry, guys. I know I've said this in the past. You're only a little percent, although to me, it breaks my heart. It's mostly women, and when they get, they fight through the biggest challenge of their life, and they survive. Yeah, survive. Now they come out the other side, and to thrive, I'm sounding like Dr. Seuss, and in my opinion, to become a champion, it's someone who fights with strong and great determination and courage for their values and for their beliefs. And that's what a champion is. And so therefore, Champions Over Cancer is in line with meeting the needs of a cancer-free patient and a cancer-free community or population, whichever. I think they're kind of intermingled. But because we wish and are building networking and services to align with people who need the services. So if you come to the site and you know what you need, then you'd be able to look up and find the help that you need. Isn't that's very simple? You ask A, B, here's the answer. Make the connection. You get results. And it needs to be continuous, because as this chronic disease, which I really hate to call it that, but because you always have to be vigilant and follow, your health and how you take care of yourself increases your prognosis, your longevity, and I forget what I was going to say. That's gone. But if you are able to find the answers, then you have done your due diligence. You have found the answers. You are more confident in your ability to deal, that was it, the chronic. You're more confident to deal with this chronic disease and go forward, keep moving forward, and you feel like you have more control of your life, and hopefully being more informed, having more control of your life equals a better quality of life. Now, I say hopefully because I think this is all still speculation in terms of going forward and having a better quality of life. And again, quality of life is individual and unique to everyone. What's quality to me is, for someone who might be sitting next to me, is totally different. So that is right then and there where asking the questions of the patient in the beginning starts that whole timeline. Because if you don't ask patients questions, you don't know what they specifically need or want. You are only assuming. So if you ask them at that stage of diagnosis, and then if you ask them specific questions at the stage of acute treatment, then when you go forward into that cancer-free realm, obviously there are issues that come up, but you have a better sense of that individual, and you can be that person can be guided to the information, and that is what we want to accomplish. We want cancer-free patients, caregivers, people who have been touched by cancer, to be able to find answers, to feel empowered. And by feeling empowered, you have control, you have confidence, and the ultimate goal of improving your quality of life. So for me, just doing this research helps me understand all this so much better and gives me insight into quality of life and helps me. But that doesn't mean that just researching would help the next person. So that's how Champions Over Cancer evolved, and all out of frustration. But they say that medical changes in medicine come from patients. I was an acute patient. I am a chronic patient now, and I am a pain in the you-know-what when there's something that I am not happy with. If you know me, you know that well. And if you see me only on lives and I've never met you, I would love to meet you. I would love to hear your story, because we are 60 days in, and I don't know what it takes to create a habit. I thought it was 30 days to change a habit or to create a habit. And so now we're 60 days in, and I am still here. every single day. My integrity is intact. Is that an oxymoron? I don't know. But I am still here, and I will be back tomorrow for day 61. And the only difference is I'm working. So you know what that will be. I'll try to be as early as I can because it's really tiring, you know? Get up 3 hours before your shift starts, and you work 12, and then I've been 2 hours over because I can't leave unless all my work is done, meaning the paperwork, the charting. I can't just leave it on a desk and say, I'll come back and finish it tomorrow. That's not how nursing works. And so you stay until it's done. And I'll tell you that tomorrow's Tuesday. I worked Friday. Hey, Stephen, how are you? It's good to see you. And I lost my job. Oh, so I was working Friday, and so I was up at 4, and I worked from 7 to 7, and I did not finish with my charting until 9:45. And I was so tired at that point that I called Jay, and I said, would you please come and pick me up? Because even though we only live 2 miles from where I work, I was so exhausted that I was afraid to drive home. And whether that's because I am a little older, or is it because of, long-term effects of my cancer treatments and I fatigue easier. I know you say, oh, you're 7 years out, but there are certain things that don't come back so easily. But whatever the case may be, I called and I asked him to come and pick me up because I was afraid to drive home, even though it's 2 miles away. So, you've got to listen to your body, and if you don't like what it's saying, you've got to step in and take control and be empowered to make a decision that would be right. And that was right for that night. I came home and I did a live. I think it was about 2 minutes. I said, hi, I'm here, and I'm exhausted, and I'm giving myself permission to say goodnight. And that wasn't a cop-out because I took responsibility. I went live, and it continues. So today is day 60, well, for what's left of the day. And tomorrow will be 61, and I'll be here. And I am thinking positively, that it will be a better live than ones that I've done after work. Think positive, get positive results. So, I hope everyone is home, safe, tucked in, feeling well. And for Champions Over Cancer, I am Cathy Novicky, and I will see you tomorrow, Tuesday, July 25th. Can you believe it? Summer is like, Thanks, Stephen. Where's summer gone? I can't, today it's like 60 degrees out here, and it rained all morning. But at least we got to turn the AC off. So anyway, no more ranting. I am going to say good night, see you tomorrow, and